So yesterday, I let you guys know the Federal Reserve had announced they were going to be increasing interest rates by 0.75%. And now today, I have for you the video footage. What does this all mean for stimulus checks, Social Security increases? You guys, they're saying that pain is on the way, and we are likely going to go into a very painful recession here very soon. Now, I know this is not what anybody wants to hear, but I'm just going to share with you the video footage, and I'm going to tell you the truth, give you the latest on this. We will see, because we heard that stimulus checks would likely come with another recession. And right now, some stimulus could probably help, especially for those on fixed incomes, those that are on Social Security benefits. This is going to be painful. And you're literally going to hear him say, yes, pain is on the way, and it's likely going to be sustained. And they're going to be aggressively increasing interest rates, doing whatever they can to combat this. And we're going to hear them specifically say there's going to be increases in unemployment. They're going to have to do things to get things back on track. Real estate, I've got a clip for you on that where he says there's likely going to need to be a correction, which, as you guys know, I'm a real estate investor actively investing in the market. So usually a correction is an indication of anywhere between a 10 to 20% decrease in values of pricings. But we will see, because right now, too, just the supply and demand issue is so great. And yes, in some markets, they're already seeing pullbacks, but in others, they're not. So we will see, because nationwide, the numbers are just so wonky across the board. We'll see. I think it really is going to depend on your market, but they're saying pain is on the way. Now, regardless of what happens, you guys know I am here. I will keep you up to date. I will show you the latest so that way you can stay up to date on everything. And I'll let you know what's unfolding. And if they can provide stimulus in a way that would not add to debt and inflation, using maybe those excess funds, that would probably help out a lot, because we're hearing there's going to be a lot of hurt. And so I'll keep you guys up to speed. Now, in addition to that, if you're looking to better your financial situation, trying to actively get involved in something, that second channel, I'm releasing content on there talking about some scripture references to some things that I think maybe could help people. Also, if you're trying to plan out, how do I hit a goal, make $1 million in a year, $100,000 in a year? I had somebody say, I just want to do $2,000 a month. I go through some equations, through some thought processes that I hope help people on there, just give you a little bit of guidance, not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, but just things that I've done that have helped me that hopefully can help other people as well. I just pray that that is a blessing. I know there's a lot going on, so people just need some sort of guidance and help. So I pray that that's a blessing to you guys. But with that being said, let's take a look at this video footage so you can see it for yourself. Let me know your thoughts as we hear from Fed Chair Jerome Powell saying pain is on the way, there's going to be corrections, and it's likely going to be sustained. And people are probably going to need some sort of help, and we will see how Congress responds to all of this. Now, smash the like button for me if you appreciate that I'm keeping you up to speed. Hit the subscribe button to stay up to date. It's totally free. I'll cite for you all the sources. I put it on the screen, show you the actual videos so you know it's the latest. Any specific questions for me, hop on to Instagram, shoot me a DM, SteveRam3. Give me a little bit of time to respond. I saw some people that were concerned because it took me several days to get back. It's just, I got a lot of DMs and I go through them myself personally. And also, if you want access to the comprehensive list that I've assembled, took me months to do every single stimulus check in the nation, and I'm continually updating it with all the resources, phone numbers, contact information, websites, all in one place, easy to access from your phone, your tablet, or online on your computer. Just go to www.reliefroadmap.com. I just have a small fee on there to try to cover all of the expenses that I've thrown into this, and it's even less than $10. You get to pick your price. So if you're interested, that is available as well. But with that being said, guys, let's take a look at this video footage so you can hear it for yourself as what Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell had to say on the economy and pain being on the way.
So you had said that Americans and businesses need to feel some economic pain as we go forward. How long from here should Americans be prepared for that economic pain?
How long? I mean, it really depends on how long it takes for wages and more than that, prices to come down, for inflation to come down. And what you see in our projections today is that inflation moves down, significantly over the course of next year, and then more the next year after that. And I think once you're on that path, that's a good thing, and things will start to feel better to people. They'll feel lower inflation. They'll feel that the economy's improving, and also if our projections are close to right, you will see that that the costs in unemployment they're meaningful, and they're certainly very meaningful to the people who lose their jobs. And we talk about that in our meetings quite a lot. But at the same time, we'd be setting the economy up for another long period. This era has been noted for very long expansions. We've had 3 of the 4 longest in measured history since we got inflation under control. And that's not an accident. So when inflation is low and stable, you can have these 9, 10, 11, 10-year, expansions, and you can see what we saw in 2018, 19, and 20, which was very low unemployment, the biggest wage gains going to people at the low end of the spectrum, the smallest racial gaps that we've seen since we started keeping track of that. So we want to get back to that, but to get there, we're going to have to get supply and demand back in alignment, and that's going to take tight monetary policy for a period of time.
As a follow-up, what is that economic pain in your mind? Is it job losses? Is it higher interest rates on credit cards? What is that economic pain?
So it's all of those things. Higher interest rates, slower growth, and a softening labor market are all painful for the public that we serve. But they're not as painful as failing to restore price stability and then having to come back and do it, down the road again, and doing it at a time when actually now people have really come to expect, high inflation. If the concept of high inflation becomes entrenched in people's economic thinking about their decisions, then sort of getting back to price stability, the cost of getting back to price stability just rises, and so we want to avoid that. We want to act aggressively now and get this job done and keep at it until it's done.
So there you have it, outright saying from the Federal Reserve that pain is going to be on the way for the economy. Now, in this next clip, he addresses specifically the real estate market and says that a needed correction is going to be coming because things have just been red hot, out of control. People just getting into the market for the past couple of years, this is not typical. This is not the way things typically go. So he's saying a correction is needed. Now, a correction, a modification, but typically the definition of a correction, we'll see, I'm not necessarily sure that he was specifically referring to this, is usually a 10 to 20% adjustment, devaluing of the asset of real estate. But we will see anything beyond 20% is usually considered a crash. And I think we've only had like 3 official crashes in the past century. The situation that we're in right now, I don't think we're going to see a crash. I think a correction is possible. But also it's hard to say because after this housing clip, there's another one where he talks about how aggressive do they need to get. And just to let you guys know, they are a long ways off. I'm just going to be honest with you. They're saying that inflation has not been this bad since the 1980s. Well, what did they do to combat that? They cranked interest rates up to double digits. And right now, we're at like 3, getting close to 4%. So they literally could potentially triple what they're doing right now in order to get to where we were back in the 1980s to combat record high inflation. So we will see, you guys, but take a look at this housing clip.
Existing home sales have fallen for 7 months straight. Mortgage rates are at their highest level since 2008. Yet mortgage demand increased this week and housing prices are still elevated. Now, at the end of your June press conference, you mentioned plans to reset the housing market. I was wondering if you could elaborate on what you mean when you say reset and what you think it will take to actually get there.
So when I say reset, I'm not looking at a particular specific, set of data or anything. What I'm really saying is that we've had a time of a red hot housing market all over the country where, famously houses were selling to the first buyer at 10% above the ask before even seeing the house, that kind of thing. So there was a big imbalance between supply and demand. Housing prices were going up at an unsustainably fast level. So the deceleration in housing prices that we're seeing should help bring sort of prices more closely in line with rents and other housing market fundamentals. And that's a good thing. For the longer term, what we need is supply and demand to get better aligned so that housing prices go up at a reasonable level, at a reasonable pace, and that people can afford houses again. And I think we probably in the housing market have to go through a correction to get back to that place. There are also longer run issues though with the housing market, as you know, where it's difficult to find lots now close enough to cities and things like that. So builders are having a hard time getting zoning and lots and workers and materials and things like that. But from a sort of business cycle standpoint, this difficult correction should put the housing market back into better balance.
So there you have it. Now, also, like I said, what's the long-term plan? What is the destination for interest rate increases and getting things back on track with the economy? Take a look at what they had to say.
Nick Timmeros of the Wall Street Journal. You said not too long ago in describing the policy destination, there's still a way to go. But I imagine you have to have some idea about how you're thinking about your destination, whether it's a stopping point or a pausing point. And so I was wondering if you could discuss how you are thinking about, as the data come in, where that destination is, how it's moving up if inflation doesn't perform as you expect. Do you want to have a policy rate that's above the underlying inflation rate, for example? And do you have an estimate for where you think the underlying inflation rate might be in the economy right now?
Well, so again, we believe that we need to raise our policy stance overall to a level that is restrictive, and by that I mean is meaningfully putting meaningful downward pressure on inflation. That's what we need to see in the stance of policy. We also know that there are long and variable lags, particularly as they relate to inflation. So it's a challenging assessment. So what do you look at? You look at broader financial conditions, as you know. You look at where rates are, real and nominal in some cases. You look at credit spreads. You look at financial conditions indexes. We also, I would think, and you see this this is something we talked about today in the meeting and talk about in all of our meetings, and you see this, I think, in the committee forecast. You want to be at a place where real rates are positive across the entire yield curve. And I think that would be the case if you look at the numbers that we're writing down and think about you measure those against some sort of forward-looking assessment of inflation expectations. I think you would see at that time, you'd see positive real rates across the yield curve, and that is also an important consideration.
So there you have it, you guys. That was yesterday. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell discussing the state of the economy. A 0.75% increase in interest rates is going to be coming. And then we're hearing more and more and more is likely going to be coming. And this is going to be a sustained pain to the economy. It's going to be impacting unemployment, the stock market, real estate market, all of these likely going to be impacted. And like I said, likely plunging us into a recession, a lot of economic pain, which is not what the Biden administration has said they wanted to see. We've heard President Biden just recently try to write off inflation and also the pandemic. But we will see, because without a doubt, pain is on the way and they're going to need to respond to this. We're going to be seeing how Congress responds. People are likely going to need help, especially those on fixed incomes, you guys. So I will keep you up to date here on the channel on everything, but that is the latest. I want to make sure that you're in the know of what's taking place. And with that being said, if you appreciate that, do me a quick favor. If you made it this far and you haven't already, smash the like button. It helps out with the YouTube algorithm a ton. Leave your comments, share this out. If you want to stay up to date, it's totally free. Why not? Hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell. Any specific questions, shoot them to me in the DM on Instagram at SteveRam3. Consider joining my second channel, where I'm providing more content to help out people get information and knowledge about how to improve their financial situations, the Steve Ram Finance channel. And I've also got that comprehensive list of all the stimulus checks in the nation if you're seeking information on any potential opportunities for stimulus checks or provisions or programs in your area. Check that out if you're interested as well at www.reliefroadmap.com. But with that being said, you guys, thank you so much for joining me. I'll catch you in the next one. Take care. God bless. This is Steve.